Hi, you guys. It's Kennedy. Long time no see. Sorry, guys. I've been super freaking busy with everything in life. I know I say that every freaking time, but today I got a banger for you guys. Today we're going to be talking about how to properly trade prop firm accounts. And if you don't know me, you don't know my credentials, whatever, I'm Kennedy. I'm currently funded across 5 firms. I have 20 funded accounts in total. Been trading them for about 3 months now. So I think my credentials kind of speak for themselves. Last week I netted around 11K in payouts. So I think I have enough credentials to kind of speak on this topic. And a lot of the way that traders or people tell you how to trade prop firms, I mean, it's an okay way. I just have a different approach to trading prop firms. And I just kind of want to talk to you guys about it. We're going to start off with like the evaluation phase, my strategy, how to scale them properly, when to size up. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to cover all of that. And if you're a copy trader, we're also going to talk about how I manage my risk copy trading, because I do copy trade. I use Tradecopia, not sponsored, but I have not had any issues with Tradecopia. I've had a few issues with TradeSync, but Tradecopia has not let me down yet, except once, and that was my fault. But yeah, so we're going to get started. We're going to start off with evaluation accounts, how to trade evaluation accounts, how I trade evaluation accounts, all of that stuff. So I think I'm going to switch the screen over so you guys can see better. What? Count how many times I done said But yeah, and also don't mind my hair again. But my hair has been like, this is like 2-week-old hair, so I just haven't managed to redo it yet. I haven't had the time because I've just been doing a lot with trading, and then I still work, so I have a lot of things going on. Girl, why do I keep saying But yeah, let's switch over the camera. We're gonna talk about evaluation accounts because that is the first topic I would like to cover. All right, so here's my Top Step accounts. I don't know if you guys want to see my other accounts for me to prove that I'm like actually have 20 funded accounts, but I would have to open Tradecopia to do that. So hold up. So this is I haven't opened Tradecopia on my desktop in a while because I usually just use my MacBook when I'm trading now. But this is old. This is very, very old. But this is my accounts. You can see. Oh wait, this is. Let me just refresh it, y'all, because it says I only have 2 Top Step accounts and I have 5. So let me refresh it. Actually, I'm too lazy. Here are my 5 Top Step accounts. Hold up, I'm gonna show you guys the Lucid accounts. Here are my 5 Lucid accounts. Here are my 5 Tradeify accounts. They're all eligible for payouts, but we're not where I want them to be yet, so I haven't requested yet. Here are my 3 Alpha accounts. I only have 3 on Alpha because I had the standard accounts because they had like a huge discount for standard, so I just went with standard. And the max you can have is 3. So here are my 3 Alpha, and then I have 2 on Apex, which you guys are just gonna have to take my word for it because Apex has all this Google Authenticator things to log in, and I just don't feel like Google authenticating right now. Okay, so you just gotta take my word on Apex, but I've shown you guys mostly all of them, and then I also have my funded futures. And I started my funded futures yesterday, Friday, just to get some evaluations going. So I have 4 my funded future evaluations, and they are all at that 50% mark. I've never been funded with my funded futures. I initially started my funded futures when I started trading props, like when I first started my journey back in like November, December. But I've never went back to my funded futures, but I've heard it's a really, really good firm, so it's also my next target to get max funded on. I just have 4 accounts right now because the way that I trade evaluations are very, very aggressive. So I just want to make sure like these 4 I can, pass before I go and get the 5th one. I might do 2 and 2, like I might separate how I trade those evaluations because, like I said, I'm a one trader and doneer when it comes to evaluations. But that's a good point. Now that we're talking about evaluations, we can go to how I trade evaluation accounts. So when it comes to evaluation accounts, I do not spend my time on them. Do I recommend people full port or kind of, let their balls hang when it comes to evaluations? I would have to separate that into, are you profitable or are you not profitable? If you're profitable and your return on your investment is usually high full port it, let your balls hang. But if you're more like you're still learning, I would not recommend you full port your evaluation accounts, because you can learn a lot of useful skills from actually trading your evaluation accounts properly. And these skills are very, 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 very useful when you start to trade your funded accounts. So if you don't gain those skills in the evaluation phase and you just hop straight into the funded phase, you're not going to succeed, because a lot of those skills you really, really, really do need. And I'm not saying this just to say this. I've blown many accounts thinking I was ready to trade the live markets or the funded markets, and I was not. Okay, funded and eval are two different ballparks, and you need to get those skills from your evaluation accounts in order to be successful in your funded accounts. So if you are not a profitable trader, I do not recommend you to size up and full port your evals, because when you get to your funded accounts, you're just gonna blow your funded accounts, believe it or not. So I would recommend anybody that is still learning, take your evaluations slow and learn the skill, learn how your emotions react. You can learn your triggers. You can learn how your strategy works. You can learn what conditions your strategy work better in. You can learn all of these criterias that will make you successful when it comes to trading your actual funded account, right? So now we got that out the way. Hopefully I got most of the points there when it comes to evaluation accounts. So the main point there is, if you're a profitable trader or you have a good return on your investment, full port, okay? What the hell? Why are you taking your time? When you're profitable, your time is your money, okay? So when you're profitable, you do not have to sit there and just trade one ES. You just let your balls hang. I usually just do 5 or 4 on a really, really good setup. It's usually like in a reaction zone where I know like I'm going to get a good reaction, and I just need a few points. So it usually plays out, but I'm not saying like I'm always passing my evals. These 4 evals on my funded futures, for some reason, I just 50%ed them in one go. I didn't have to reset them or anything. It was one go. I had 50%. Don't ask me how. I'm just kidding. It usually goes that way, but then, sometimes the second day I may stumble or I may like force a setup. But I'm not going to do that with these. I'm actually going to wait on an A+ setup to get that second day. But yeah, now we're going to talk about my strategy. The best part of trading. So if you don't know me, then I trade supply and demand. I do have a different way of trading supply and demand. A lot of people trade supply and demand a certain way, and I do not trade supply and demand like that. I trade supply and demand in a unique way that my mentor taught me. And yeah, I really do love the way that I trade supply and demand. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It not only kind of gives you the market conditions and the market structure, and it lets you know who's in control, but it just also makes things super, super easy, So let's take this chart, for example. So let's just act like off the dome. I'm going to clear my chart. So let's act like I'm freshly starting my day, and I just sat down the charts, and this is how the markets are. I would initially start my day off on the 4-hour chart. And on the 4-hour, what I'm looking at is, well, in this case scenario, since we're kind of at all-time highs, almost at all-time highs again, we just kind of left all-time highs. In this case scenario, I would mark my all-time high, which is 75.40, whatever. It's not perfect. None of these markets are going to be like super duper perfect. And then I would also note where we're currently bouncing out of, or where we're currently reacting out of. In this case, we have a demand zone here. So I'd mark that up. I'd mark up this demand zone. And then I would kind of mark up that supply up there. We have a supply. It would be like something like this. So I'd mark up that supply. And now I have my bigger time frame zones. Now, after I mark that up, I'd be looking for, okay, so where would I want to go long and where would I want to go short? You know what I'm saying? To make things easier. So my safest short would be beneath here, just based off of supply and demand, right? Because beneath here, we have this big demand zone that we're currently trading in. So if somehow, some way, we managed to break this demand zone, that shows me that the momentum of sellers are higher than the momentum of buyers, because we have this previous reacted zone that caused this huge influx to the upside. So if we come back down here and we can't manage to make another reaction, then that means that our momentum of sellers are stronger. We're in bear territory at that point. So my safest sell would be beneath this supply zone, right? So if I was looking for a sell, I would not look for a sell in here. You know, my safest sell, my A plus setup sell would be beneath this zone. So any sell in between would be more risky. It would be more like I would have to wait to make sure that we are actually in bearish territory for me to take a sell, right? So, and then when it comes to like a buy, where would I take a buy? Hold up. So we're reacting in this zone. I could take a continuation buy out of this zone, but since this zone has been tested about 2 times, I would not touch this demand zone. This demand zone would not be in my criteria. I would not touch this demand zone. I'd be anticipating a break of this demand zone. I would not want to long this demand zone anymore. It's been used, abused, and all of the above. So I would be looking for, and when I say test, just in case you guys don't know, so this is when the demand zone was created. We tested it right here. We tested it again, and now we're testing it again. So that's 1, 2, 3 tests. And I don't want to take it anymore because the likelihood of it reacting again is just minimal. It's not as high as it was on this first reaction. This first reaction, when it came into the zone, sure, you could take it. But once it came back again, you could take it still. But that third time, it gets kind of iffy, you know. At that point, the likelihood of it breaking is stronger, and I would rather just take it as it's broken and not taking it. So now let's talk about broken zones, actually. So when I say that I'm waiting for a short beneath here, where would I want my short, you may be asking? You know, like, Kennedy, if it breaks here, what are you looking for? Great question, guys. So I'd be looking for a 5-minute closure below the zone, right? And after I get that 5-minute closure below the zone, I want a pullback. I don't want to just take 7397. You know, I don't want to take that as a short. I want to pull back. I want to pull back about where the close of this demand zone sits. So it'd be at right here. I'd be looking for a pullback at about 7412 to take my continuation short. And what this basically is usually this creates the close of this broken demand zone usually creates a fresh resistance. Usually, in a lot of cases, it creates that fresh resistance. So I'd be looking to short at around 7412 after we break 7397, right? So I'd be waiting for a pullback. I would not just take my short after we break 7397. That's not how my edge works. I'd be waiting for that pullback into 7413-ish area. Okay, so that's kind of the analysis I do. And you can do the same on I usually start on the 4-hour. I go down to the 1 hour, and I'll just do it all the way down to the 30-minute. I don't go lower than the 30-minute. Some people do go lower than 30-minute. I don't. So I'll stop my analysis at the 30-minute chart. But yeah, so in this case, I'd be looking for, I would take a long if we got above here. I would take a long above there. Because right now we're in supply. We have supply, we have supply, we have supply. So my safest long would be a little bit above here. I wouldn't want to take a long anywhere else right now. This is a really sticky situation where the zone, where the chart is currently at. But we're currently kind of falling from all-time highs. So I wouldn't want to, my long would be a little bit further away from where I would take my short. Just because we're more in bearish territory. And that's just kind of like the analysis that I do when I wake up in the morning. And when it comes to how I trade these setups, what I'm looking for, when it comes to these breaks of these demand zones or these supply zones, I always wait for confirmation. My confirmation is a 5-minute close. I used to not wait for confirmation, but I wait for confirmation now because, I went through my losses and my wins, and my losses usually are me not waiting for confirmation. So I'll wait for confirmation of 5 minute, a strong 5 minute close. I don't want to see the 5 minute wick around it. It has to be a strong 5 minute close, and then I will be waiting for my pullback to take my short or my long position. And that's how I trade supply and demand. And then also sizing, when it comes to sizing in supply and demand. Let me show you guys my P&L chart really quickly. All right, so I switched over to my main. So this is my lead account that I'll lead my trades from. And if you look at my calendar, you'll see, wow, Kennedy, you barely trade. So that's a good key point to make with copy trading. More is not better. Okay, you're copy trading 20, 25, 30 accounts. You don't need to be in the markets every freaking day. Let's be honest. You can be picky and only take A+ setups. And that's what I do. What can I say? You don't hate the player at the game, okay? So I'll be in the markets, but I'm only looking for A+ setups. And believe it or not, if someone tells you A+ setups present themselves every day, they're lying. Okay, A+ setups do not present themselves every day. So I'm not in the markets every day. I'm only in the markets when I get an A+ setup. And I have my criteria in my phone. Oof, I have it like, I think that in itself is a different video, but I have everything criteria wise in my phone of A+ setups, what criteria needs to be met for it to be an A+ setup, what downgrades the setups, stuff like that. And that's a separate video in itself. Okay. But I do not trade every day, and a lot of people will be shocked when they hear that, but more is not more in trading, because the more you trade, the more you lose. Sure, the more you can gain too, but the more you can lose. And I have a pretty high win rate, 70%, because I don't trade that. I mean, I don't trade those B+ setups. I'm just taking A+ setups. All I want is an A+ setup. Okay, I don't care about no B setup. I don't care about no A setup. Sometimes I'll take an A setup and I'll size down. And like, this was an A setup, so I sized down. And that just goes back to risk management. How good at you managing your risk? Because if I see an A+ setup that I know has played out more than the other setups in my edge, I'm sizing up. This was me sizing up because that was an A+ setup. Like, that's me sizing up. This is me sizing up on an A+ setup. This is me sizing down because it's just an A setup. This is also me sizing down because it's just an A setup. And that's how you minimize your losses. This is how you make your losses less than your gains. And you can see here, my loss is never greater than my gain. You know, like, it's just stuff like that you'll learn with market experience. And as you get your edge, you'll start to see, okay, this when this criteria is going on, my trades usually perform well. When this criteria is happening, my trades usually don't play out. And you'll start to see that criteria. And even if you backtest, when you backtest, you need to be noting what criteria is making your edge better, and mentally noting it, writing it down, all of the above, so you can realize which setups are actually your A+ setups in your system. And yeah, so that's how I kind of trade and I scale up. Now, when it comes to scaling up, like scaling like to more prop firms, usually if I get like a really big payout, I'll reinvest some of it. So with my payouts last week, I was initially not going to buy any more accounts because I was like, 20 is like, I'm already managing a lot right now. But I was like, you know what? It doesn't hurt to just pin some along on the back end. That's kind of what I did with Tradeify. Like, I haven't really, I kind of forgot I had these Tradeify accounts. I kind of just tagged them along. Like, after I had passed my Lucid accounts and I was trading my Lucid accounts, I kind of just tagged these Tradeify accounts along. And as you can see, the balances are building. Like, I forgot about them, and they're still building because they're just on the back end. And that's kind of what I'm going to do with my funded futures is I'm just going to tag them along. They're going to take the same trades, but I'm not going to think about them. I'm not going to be stressing about, oh my gosh, I need a payout on these. No, I don't need that. You know, like I'll be okay. So I'm going to keep doing that. So each time I get a payout, I'm going to size up, or I'm going to scale to more prop firms. My funded future is my current target. I think top 1 futures are like Take Profit Trader is probably my next victim. I would go with Apex, but since you have to have that buffer, it's not my best interest. I don't like building. I mean, I build buffers, right? But I just don't like apex. It's just so, like, their interface is so ugly, respectfully. But yeah, hopefully you guys learned something from this video. If you guys have any specific topics you want want me to talk about when it comes to trading prop firm accounts, I can make videos on that. But I think I covered the basics of how I properly trade my prop firm accounts. And as you can see, I do not go for home runs. I'll just take base hits. I'll take base hits. I'm a one-to-one trader. I size up depending on my setup. I don't size up depending on my emotions. I size up on what the market's telling me, on what it's giving me. So I am a one-to-one trader. And yeah, if you guys have any specific questions, be sure to drop that below. And I also am going to go back to streaming on TikTok almost every day. I'll try. I haven't decided if I want to stream London or Asia, or I think I do better in Asia session in terms of statistics on people in my live than New York. New York, I average like 20 viewers, which is okay. But yeah, I think I'm going to also go back to streaming. So if you guys have any specific questions for me, be sure to drop them below. And if you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you guys, because the last time that I posted was 5 months ago or something, and I was requesting my first 5K payout, which I was so proud of. I'm still super proud of it. Okay, don't get me wrong. I've just had insane accomplishments this year altogether, and I cannot thank anyone but God and everybody for believing in me. I'm super excited for what the year holds, and yeah, hopefully this helped you. And my advice, as always, is to take it slow with accounts. There's no one rushing you. If you saw my statistics, I've been trading these accounts for 3 months. They only recently started paying me. Was I mad? No. I mean, it's whatever. I think it's better for you to have the same accounts to the point where you're not reinvesting more of your money into trading than to keep on blowing accounts and trying to get a home run and making another account, having to spend more money. Just trade the same accounts. Take it slow. Nobody's holding you at gunpoint. Nobody's telling you have to succeed right now. No one's telling you that. Okay, you have all the time in the world. Take your time, learn the skill, enjoy the skill. This is a lifelong skill. Enjoy it. Yeah. So if you made it this far, be sure to click the subscribe button. I will be making more content soon, I promise. Okay. And yeah, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Thank you so much for watching this far. Bye-bye. What was I trying to do there?